they are there deterring these submarines that are threatening our underwater cabling and infrastructure. I learned that, Tom. I learned that what we know above life here on terra firma, men and women are actively engaged in hybrid warfare, active now.
And actually, I've got a couple of photos I'd quite like to share with you that you've shared throughout the year over your Instagram. You have done so much in the community and with so many different organisations, and I want to just get some of your emotions and reactions and thoughts just to react into a couple of these images that we've got here today. Here's you
yes.
with Biffa. What can you tell me about this?
Oh my God, I mean, just so much. These three men have been working together for 10, 12 years. I wish I could remember. Terry's one of them. They very kindly gave. I didn't travel around in the bus with my gear. I put it on afterwards. But they put me to work. They didn't just tell me to sit back and enjoy the ride. I was working hard. I think, tell you what else I took from that is the passion that these men and women have for their job. I mean, I kid you not. You and I might have gone into that going, well, I don't want to do this. They love it. There are generations involved here. There is one of these refuse trucks where there is a grandfather, father, son that work together.
That's incredible.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
And there are now 3% of the workforce there is women. Okay. And they're trying to grow that. The culture at Biffa was awesome. So that was a really great moment. I'm glad you pulled that up. I absolutely love it.
We have a couple more to share with you. Here's you again, Blue Light Day.
Blue Light Day. I mean, this was a day about bringing frontline emergency services to learning difficulty children and adults, and mental health charities as well. So this was an amazing day. And I think more private sector should learn more and sponsor these kind of events. I'd like the lieutenancy to reach out and get more involved, because I learned more about frontline services on this day. And they're all in one centre, one space. This was at Wadebridge Showground. And it was amazing. And there's a voluntary sector involved in emergency frontline services. Yeah. Who knew that there were, I think something like sort of 20% of the emergency frontline services are volunteers. Wow. From blood bikes to search and rescue, and dogs, some of the workforce that they do. And it was here that I discovered Tri-Service, the extraordinary Cornish innovation which marries ambulance, fire and police all in one. It's a Cornish innovation. It's celebrated its 10-year anniversary. But I discovered it here at this event. And these guys are just doing eye-watering work. And I'll leave this with you here. If we could redesign frontline services around the UK, perhaps the world, it would be using Tri-Service. But that day, Blue Light Day was awe-inspiring.
It looks like you got completely stuck in as well. Here's you at RNAS Cole Joe's as well. What can you tell me about this day?
Well, Squadron 820 and some of the others. I think what I took away from this is that really these men and women are actively on the front line of warfare right now. We have got Russian submarines within Cornish waters, and these, when you see these Merlin helicopters at work, or some of the frigate naval support of which they're all interacting, they are there deterring these submarines that are threatening our underwater cabling and infrastructure. I learned that, Tom. I learned that what we know above life here on terra firma, men and women are actively engaged in hybrid warfare, active now. I mean, that's a fact. And it's astonishing. And so this is a Merlin Series 4 helicopter that I went out with my under-sheriff here, and it's extraordinary. And I tell you, I took so much away from Station Commander Steve Irwin. He gave this amazing speech, and I'm going to just share with you one quote from it, that he said, "Never before has he felt so positive and optimistic about the generation that are coming through. He oversees 3,000 people under the age of 35, okay, from Glasgow to Cornwall. And that's a hell of a lot of people. I mean, I think that's something like 15% of the Royal Navy. And he said, never before have I ever felt so positive about our societal generations coming through. Yet, we all seem to denigrate, talk negatively about. And it resonated with me because all I see is positivity about these generations coming through. They're absolute legends that have been created of people being very disruptive. And I think it's older generations being unsure of social media or the kind of behaviors and attitudes that they bring is quite challenging maybe. But yeah, I share my view with Station Commander Steve Irwin that we should have faith in the generation coming through.
Wonderful. We've got a couple more images
I'm going
to share with you. Here's the wonderful Obios. And your reaction is incredible. And this person here as well. What can you tell me about this day?
Well, this is Obios. This is May Day. This is a pagan celebration of birth, of hope, of giving life, of regeneration. And it is a religious pagan ceremony, the oldest of its kind in the United Kingdom. It sort of precedes Celtic era, and lest we let it go. And Padstow hold on to this, with a white knuckle grip. They are passionate about the culture, and actually, as a result of that, it's growing. You've got the red and the blue horse, and they stand for different things. One's more male, one's more female, and the dance is quite intimidating, and it's meant to be intimidating. And I was invited in to dance with this really quite scary, and it's meant to be. It's meant to really provoke, challenge. And this was up at Prideaux Place. And if you have not experienced the Obios, it is amazing. And the blues in the morning and the red is in the afternoon, and then they clash. They come together, and
it's magic, isn't it?
But this to me is a great reminder of the remarkable cultural pedigree that Cornwall has. And actually, next Saturday, for example, I'm flying over to Mexico for 1 week to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the Cornish miners.
Wow.
Arriving at Riel del Monte in the state of Hidalgo, and the extraordinary story. And perhaps I might come back and tell you about what I discovered over there, and tell you the story of Cornish miners. And this week I was down in a mine in St. Just with a guy called Ben Sumpter, Underground Cornwall Adventures, showing me how Cornish miners did it over there. But anyway, more on that another time. But let me come back afterwards and tell you that story.
Absolutely
it's
wonderful.
Absolutely amazing.
We've got another couple of photos to share with you. Here is Pride and the famous socks as well over at Newquay. And yes, you can see that the rain has kind of, not dampened a thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was probably the most engaged social media post that I put up, which I think probably tells you something about what the gay pride movement actually means and the light that needs to be shone on it. I was chuffed to bits to have been invited, to have led it. There were thousands of people, it felt like, that were there, and what a potent community and a vital one. Yeah, that was amazing.
Absolutely. What have we got for you next?
Yes.
Remembrance services, Remembrance Day.
I did 6 different remembrance moments of wreath laying, both in private but also in public. This was at 5:45 a.m. on the Penzance to Paddington Poppy Express that was started by the British Legion of Cornwall, and the train arrives and stops at every single station on its way up to Paddington, and the wreath is laid in advance of the 11 a.m. memorial service, and I think there were 500 poppy wreaths laid up there. It was deeply moving throughout the day. It was a really stunning experience, and I felt humbled to be a part of that. That was just a group of us, but there were many more throughout the day that came, tears shed, stories told. It was
see your pride here. See your pride, chest puffed out. And what have we got next? I included this one because I wanted to talk about the future of Cornwall. These children are the future of Cornwall, and they look like they're having a whale of a time here.
They are, and actually there are 2 things happening in this. One is a celebration of the remarkable sporting cultural icons, the Pirates rugby, because Cornwall has frankly a nationally challenging championship team that do extraordinary things on the field, and the legacy of certain players that play for England, etc. But actually this is also about the work that they do in the community that probably doesn't get the light shone on it. You know, Neil in the background there is the community rugby player, ex-Pirates, ex-Chief, goes round to different schools, teaches them the importance of physical activity, teamwork, skills, and the amount of impact that they have had, that the Pirates rugby have had in partnering with certain schools, helping kids that were so deeply negatively affected in the lockdown, has been profound. And I encourage anybody out there to really double click on what the Pirates rugby community team do to support local schools, because the impact stories that these schools will tell you of these children that were in some parts mute, socially anxious, unable to do anything in interaction. And activities like these with partnerships like this is at Laddock School, and these kids ran absolute rings around me. But it is brilliant. And I've done a lot with schools, and I feel incredibly hopeful, again, about the generations that are coming through, and the power of partnerships, collaborations with heroes of sport as well as private enterprise, and mentoring generally through the work that I've done with a band of brothers. But yeah, this was a cracking example and deeply moving and frankly bloody uplifting, you know.
Oh, it looks absolutely fantastic. We're moving on to sort of the final part of our conversation now, but I wanted to touch upon a few events that we met you at this year. Obviously, the Homes for Cornwall, you're incredibly passionate about. You talked about your day with the waste collectors. I believe there's a family connection there with your great aunt or something like this as well, and another family connection to the Cornwall Community Foundation. And at the Cornwall Community Foundation, we were delighted to join you there for the 20th anniversary celebrations, and what an incredible impact they have. One of the features of the day, you asked people to fill out a postcard with their vision for Cornwall in 20 years. And I'm sure you've been asked this before, but I wanted to get your vision of Cornwall in 20 years, knowing what you know now. And we're a few months detracted even from that event. Where do you see Cornwall in the next 20 years?
Well, my postcard that went into the time capsule that we'll pull out in December the 5th, whenever it is all about the bond and power of community and the unlocking of barriers that bring communities together. And communities isn't just about a village hall. It's about the affinity of community. It's about all of the different aspects and chemistries of community that can come together to create a remarkable ripple effect to unlock the power and potential of a thriving community. Because we are all at home too much. We are not in socialization mode. We are not in human mode, as I think we were back along. And the power that communities can bring, and I don't just mean micro communities, you know, like in Probus, or in certain villages in the Clay Country that are doing, you know, they are really leaning into community. And there are some stunning and very moving examples. I think certain leaders of influence and ability and resource, frankly, need to come out more into the limelight and lead from the front and bring a bonding capability together. So my hope is all about community, and it actually had nothing to do with the community foundation and that premise. I just want to see desperately a richer, deeper, and look, we've got examples of it at work, both from the voluntary sector and the data that I shared with you, the amount of philanthropy that goes on as well. But we need it more. And as we go back to that kind of descending escalator, we all need to be on it, and we need to be escalator fit. You know, we need our sweatbands on, we need to be smiling, and we need to be running faster up that escalator, bringing more people with us, being more hopeful, doing things faster, and not letting perfection be the enemy of good. You know, we haven't got time to wait for that. We've got to crack on and deliver it. That's my hope for what happens in 20 years' time.